Hey guys, today we're going to be drawing a sphere. And I'm going to teach you how to shade it so that it looks 3D. So I'm using an iPad Pro with the Procreate app, and I'm also using the Apple Pencil. Now you don't need this to follow along. You can grab a sheet of paper and a pencil. So if you're on Procreate, let's go into our layers panel, and we're going to create two layers. The top one being outline, and underneath that is shading. Now Procreate also comes with a whole bunch of different sketch pencils. You could purchase them at outlets like Creative Market or Etsy, or you could probably find free ones online. I'm just gonna grab just a basic pencil to do my circle outline. Again, if you're on an iPad, to do a perfect circle, you're gonna draw your circle first. As you can see, that's a pretty bad circle, but if I don't let go of my pencil, it's going to become a really nice fluid circle, and if I put my other finger in here, it's going to become a perfect circle. And next we're going to be figuring out where the light source is. So let's have the light source up on the left. So this is where I'm going to put my sun, just as a mark to where everything is going to be bright and everything down here is going to be dark. And next we're going to be drawing a line like this, just so that we can mark off this area. This is where the darker shade is going to gradually go into lighter shade. And then here we can do an oval. That's going to be the lightest area. And then next we're going to draw the shadow that's going to be cast on the floor. But before I do that, I'm just going to enable my grid. So if we go to settings, canvas, drawing guide, just check that on. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want my shadow to be really straight. Something like that. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna just disable that again. And we could start shading. So let's go into our shading layer. And we could start at the bottom. And I'm gonna select my 6B pencil, as that's actually my favorite pencil in real life. And as we move up, we're just gonna lighten the pressure of the pencil. And the same thing goes if you're using an actual pencil with a paper. And then we're gonna be blending this together. And then once we get to this line, we can lighten the pressure more. And it's okay if you accidentally do a darker stroke like I did here, because we're going to be blending it anyway. So I'm going to be grabbing my blending brush, which is this brush right there. And in real life, if you're using an actual pencil and a paper, this is what you could use as a shading pencil. And you can find this at any art store near your area. And if you can't find those shading brushes, you can always use your finger. So I have my blending brush here, and I'm going to use the soft airbrush. And then we can begin by lightly blending. And basically you can use any type of brush. You don't have to use a 6B pencil. You can use a paintbrush or a watercolor. So I'm just really showing you the principles of shading and how to work with light and where the light source is coming from and where the shadows are cast. So if I just uncheck my outline layer, this is what you're kind of left with. And we can perfect this forever and ever. So I'm going to draw more pencil marks on the other side, just so that there's more definition in the circle. Then I'm going to grab my blending brush again and just keep blending. And I do realize that this bottom should be more dark because the light source is coming from the top left. So I'm just gonna make this a bit darker. And also when you're shading, you wanna make sure you're going in the direction of your shape. So you don't wanna be shading this way. You wanna be shading with the circle. All right, let's take off this layer and see how it looks. It's going to continue blending. And you want to blend this so that there's actually no visible lines between the dark and the light. All right, so I just want to clean up the edges. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the eraser and I'm going to pick just I guess a hard brush, something like that. Yeah, so let me just decrease that brush size. And then I'm just going to draw a circle around. This is actually erasing all the rough edges. Okay, I'm not gonna let go, and then I'm gonna hit my other finger to make it a perfect circle. And then I'm just gonna clean up these edges. I hope you understood what I just did. If you didn't, I do have another video called 25 Procreate Tips and Tricks. And you can go ahead and look at that video and you can learn some tricks. All right, so now we're gonna do that shadow that's on the floor. So I'm gonna enable my outline layer again, just to see where that is. So I'm gonna create a new layer for this, just in case I make a mistake and I have to erase anything. So I'm gonna pick the same brush, my sketch brush, a 6B pencil. Now this is fairly straightforward. There is no gradients that you don't have to do. You're mostly just gonna be doing that with your blending brush. So I'm gonna take my blending brush, get rid of that outline layer, then I'm just gonna blend it. Now I'm just going to decrease the pressure on my pencil just to give it a really good blur. So it's a good thing that I made this on its own layer because I think it has to move up a tiny bit. So I'm going to grab my selection tool. I'm just going to move this slightly up. And you can actually see that even though this layer is underneath the shading layer, because we've done so much blending on that, it's actually kind of transparent. So that is why this shadow is going on top of that, of the circle. So that's an easy fix. We can just erase it. So let's say I'm happy, maybe right there. I'm gonna go and take my eraser tool, just pick a hard brush, and I'm just gonna erase this part. So right now, I'm just erasing the shadow. I hope you enjoyed this video. Here is your 3D circle. To get notified of more new videos where I teach you to draw, be sure to subscribe.